Does he not know the player's right behind him? He's got to be careful. He does get out unscathed, still full HP. Resetting here, Cold and Scented to do all the work, but they got to be careful. We saw that there was a lot of players here, and as you can see there, Dayfan off on the side, lurking, waiting for a good opportunity. The third party of this team, and Scented and Cold seem to be happy with the amount of damage they've done. They see the zone is about to start moving, closing in on them, so they've got to get out of here at one point.
Works out. I mean, listen, they take no damage. They get a lot of tags. Granted, it blew some material, but the fact that Scented was able to even find that little brick reservoir worked out really well. That was like 100+ power materials just swept right back into the inventory, so kind of negated everything there. It works. It works. It's not pretty, but it worked. What else can they do for the remainder of the game is a true question that we want answered. For iamZo and DGen, our #1 team, we already lost our 3rd place seeded team. So iamZo and DGen have so much room to work with here. This is where they can jump ahead of the competition. This is where they can punch their ticket to the finals in Game 4. That would be the most ideal situation. That'll alleviate all the pressure here. Smite and Larssen fizzle out after Game 2. It seems like 3 did not work in their favor. They're hard stuck now at 40 points, below the Storm Surge here as well. I wonder.
I mean, when you think about it.
I was just going to say, did Scented and Cold maybe make a decision too soon? Like, did Smite and Larssen get a little lucky?
Well, Smite and Larssen were probably finding a lot of their success through that, those early eliminations that they were fine on Cold and Scented. But now that Cold and Scented have made a big adjustment in how they play their early game, Smite and Larssen no longer have even the opportunity to take down Scented and Cold and find some early eliminations. So maybe they are struggling with that Storm Surge. And as you can see here, yeah, backing that point up, they are 40 below right now. This could be potentially big. This is what they did against Scented and Cold. Found some early eliminations. Good shots on the Pams through there. Larssen in a 1v1 situation now as they trade downs. Let me see what happens here. He's actually just going to go straight up for the res. If they can get him up quickly and get right back into the fight, they might be able to find these eliminations very, very quickly. But, we look at the Storm Surge counter. He's 253 above already, so he got some good damage in. The other player's healing up, and it looks like Larssen is going to take a step back. Pop a big potion, reset, maybe take the fight, maybe not take the fight. We'll have to see what he decides.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like they were content with it, but no, I think they want the elims here.
Yep, here we go.
Want to get a little bit more, probably feeling confident. Someone's calling for the re-engage. Shots are coming in from the distance, too, though, so someone else trying to get involved in the mix here. Playify gets tagged, though. The punishment tries to sneak his way into the corner. It was 55 below the Surge. Surge does the rest. That elimination credit will go to the player who last tagged them. So Chubbs, you can see right there in the feed, finds the tag or the full elim. That's granted directly to them. So rewards being divvied out. Oliver OG now trying to make best of the situation. This is our #4th place team here. This is all for the finals, guys. All that matters is finishing into top 8. Beautiful shot there with 2 HP. 52 damage above the Surge. That is so close. He would have otherwise been taken out. So a frame perfect shot. It was about to tick over. Oh no, they jump in. Couldn't get the reset in time. Oh man, unfortunate.
Chubbs and Twix were coming in, as was the zone. Not a lot for Oliver OG to do there. Again, Storm Surge, troublesome for some of these players. Twix and Chubbs, they got to get a move on. Going to be jumping in at the vehicle there. They'll quickly be able to get to the Storm. To back up the point that you made earlier, though, MDF, big game potential here for DGen and iamZo, right? Because Glace and Chucky went down. We know Macwood and Donnie went down, but let's not forget Beef and Nick, who were actually in 2nd place, also went down. So DGen and iamZo have a big opportunity here to, create a gap between them and the rest of the leaderboard. Little bit of a chill zone going on now. Not a lot of people doing much. We see that 70 player count has been hit, so everybody knows, okay, we're good on Storm Surge until the next one comes, so we're just all going to relax. If we look at the Storm, though, a lot of water included in this one on the east side, so we're going to see a lot of players bundle up here on the west side where there's actually some land. You don't want to base yourself up in that water. It is hard to traverse sometimes, and there we go. We see DGen and iamZo. They don't have any elims yet, so hopefully they are chilling on Storm Surge, and we'll see how they play this one out as the next Storm is about to show itself.
Yeah, definitely. But we all know iamZo has the tendency to take a fight, so it's just a matter of time at this point as they're sitting at 0 eliminations. How much Storm Surge have they managed to put down in the game? DGen and Iamzo opening the bills just as we talk about that aggression that typically comes out.
Whoa.
Oh, little boost. All right, it works in their favor, though. Doesn't completely throw them off here. Those little only in Fortnite type situations almost occurred right there, but it's okay. Okay, so look, DGen and Iamzo get to get first dibs here. This is honestly prime real estate. They get to also sit on some material that they can recycle. This is one of the few pieces of land. And look at that, they fire away the logs. So yes, they're clearing out the location, just conditioning this little piece of land. Oh, I was going to say, did they actually just get hit marker over there? That was bulldozing right into a potential team.
You know, it's interesting that they actually didn't build up any higher than they did. If we look at the map again, on the west side, there are a lot of teams that got to come into the zone here, right? And really the only place where there's land that they have to go is this little island. So they're all going to funnel in and potentially build up on top of them. But Clarity G and Slacks finding themselves in a fight on this western piece of land that I just recently talked about. A lot more than just Clarity and Slacks involved, though. A couple of teams over here in shambles here is that Cody guy right there. He's going to be disengaging, though. Clarity and Slack going to be happy with the loot that they find. They know that the storm's going to be closing soon, so they know that they got to make this rotation soon. The water, a mode of transportation for them, and picking up a quick Elam. That team over there had no shield, so very easy for them to find that, and they know that they had no shield, so they know they're potentially even further shambles from what they can tell. Going to be going for the piece control, playing it safe, playing it smart. Here's the other player jump in the water, and again, they are just happy with the loot that they find. Very well played from Clarity and Slacks. They're going to be happy with that quick amount of storm surge that they find.
Not only that, the material, the refresher to come into this, the new zone, find a knock. It couldn't work any better for a team. Cold is going to find Larson in the feed. That, my friend,
there we go.
Is a big, big exchange. If you've been following along since game number 1, Larson and Smite have been the key reasoning to their difficult time so far today. They had to adjust their entire strategy, so things come full circle. I hope he caught that one in the package. We'll see if we can see what happened and unfolded there. But for Bully and Dusky, who are now in 6th positioning here, 90 points on the board. So 90 points is our top 6. That's a lot of points, guys. You saw, though, a ton, and I mean tons of teams are hovering around the 70 and 80-point threshold mark, so the standings are so close. Here's Yuz and Okis, the first time we really get to see them in a battle, and unfortunately, they're under some serious pressure here. A couple armed walls come down, but no! One should have been thrown up on the ceiling. Okis now left to fend for himself. Can he get to Yuz in time? No, down body gets full finished here. Wants to fight for the loot. Little does he know, Users jumps on into the box there. Big pressure from up above as well. Okis has to be so careful here. Case snatches up some of it. Yes, he actually needs this here.
Going for the wall there 3 times in a row, not going to get it. A little bit unlucky. Okis played that very well. He kind of disengaged, and then as soon as he heard the shields break of those other 2 players, he re-engaged. He's got 3 Stinger SMGs, all of which were purple, rarity or higher. He's going to be opting to drop on, probably going to take the web shooters. He's definitely going to need it, because if we look at the zone point all the way up there to that northeast location, and if you were, wow, Bully here, showing off his parkour skills, walking right on top of a tree. You know, he's got 100 mats to work with. If he can make this rotation on foot, he can potentially create solo clutch opportunities. He's going to hear a player land around him, going to make sure everything around him is covered. Eventually, he'll build in once he thinks that it is safe, and there we go. He's going to build himself up in some metal, keep himself safe. And again, Clarity G and Slacks finding themselves in good positions to where they can just spray some players and find some quick eliminations from distance.
Yeah, it's little things like this, guys, that give us a deep appreciation for FN competitive. Watching the master rotates from someone like Bully, now watching Clarity G and Slacks just play such a execution, like executing at the highest level right now, finding multiple refreshes, finding these angles, these positions, and from the low ground, aiming and targeting teams up above just off the terrain knowledge is just so well played right now. And take a look here. We get to watch this back here, how it all began. Here's the setup from Clarity G. The big tags for the MK7.
Oh my.
Trying to slide to get away, but you just can't. Clarity, one of the most disgusting shots in Fortnite. And we just watched it play out there in real time. GG's for him.
Yeah, and that's not an easy shot to make, right? We think about it, Chapter 3 just recently introduced, so sliding a mechanic that was implemented along with the release of the season. So a little bit of different momentum there, right? Players got to adjust to that momentum that players will have to be able to make those shots. Clarity obviously been putting in some practice, but if you're paying attention right there, Cold picks up a couple elims, but maybe even a bigger bit of a development. Yamzo is all by his lonesome. These are your leaderboard leaders as of current. And Yamzo is left to solo clutch and hopefully keep that top spot alive for this duo.
Big developments on height as well. Muzz fighting for high ground. I don't know if I saw Avery there, so keep an eye on him. They're in 16th place, guys. These guys will be at the top of the standings if they manage to get all the way to endgame. Bully on the other side, he might have had great rotates, but unfortunately might have made a little mistake here as the pressure comes in. But he's in the water situation, right? He's on this ultimate low. Naturally, you're going to get targeted here. He did not reset the wall behind him. Small mistakes like that will get you, quickly taken out. On height now, though. Another exchange. Polarized and Nico on top. They need this victory out so badly. They've been having a struggle of a tournament, but they shut down Macwood and Donnie over at the Daily Bugle. Now taking this game all the way through to endgame. This is going to be a confidence boost for them, which is going to spell more and more trouble for Macwood and Donnie for the next game.
Yamzo on the low ground, he's doing it for the duo. I mentioned how he was going to have to clutch up to keep that first place position alive, and yes, Senpu as well, finally finding some success. Ooh, Yamzo, too aware for a player to be lurking underneath his own builds. What a great spot he's in right now, though. Actually gets tagged.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, he's still got a lot of mats to work with, though. Great builds coming out. He knows he's got to go up the hill, so he's slowly working his way up as he builds away from those players. I like this play. Taking a little bit of a detour into the zone a little bit. Mindful of the high ground. We know that they can do a lot of damage in very quick succession. And again, Magnolia goes for a quick little couple of shots on him. Does some damage, but nothing to be worried about. Sent it over there. Backside of the zone. Actually goes down. Yamzo to do it.
Yeah, a little wide shot right there gives us Pamsu and Thatch on height right now, so they could be making their return into the standings too. Yamzo gets the wall opened up and shut down, so first place is now out. More room for the top here. Clarity G and Slacks managed to find themselves into the triple-digit mark. This is a 108-point breakthrough for them. Every team that falls is granting them more and more points. Take a look here, 6 elims as well. There's a player behind this wall, but will they open up? Yes, of course. Slacks is looking for Clarity G, leading this rotate out at the bottom. Calm and collected. Day and Clicks managed to make an endgame too. But this is Pam and Thatch's game. They're in 11th place. Can they do something even bigger? We'll find out. Beautiful angle here from Clarity G on the low. Shots are coming out. Can they get the full rip through? That's a great tag there. No shield break. It's Day and Clicks on the other side of the barrel, facing the pressure on height. 3 elims now. The champs are trying to come back here. They've been on a tear. We've been hyping them up. We know how good they are. They need to show us right now. How can they close this game out? 2 builds now for Thatch. Have to assume Pamsu barely has any. Yes, so that means they're committing down here. Sneaky and Statics at 9 eliminations. They're fighting for the spot right now. This is a top 10 fight here. Can they break through? No. Sneaky gets shut down. The vets are just a little bit better. Statics as well. And a quick elimination here for Pamsu and Thatch, who both win their ones there. GG's for them.
Thatch and Pamsu to close it out. Another one of those situations actually where we find that they actually take high ground, right? We saw a different team up there not too long ago. Then all of a sudden Pamsu and Thatch are like, hey, listen, we want to be able to just walk straight to a victory royale, so we're going to go ahead and take it. But Sneaky and Statics, who ended up coming second right there, had a total of 9 eliminations, so not too shabby for them. Pamsu and Thatch going to be finishing out there with a total of 6 elims and the victory royale. That's going to be a huge swing in the leaderboards. Again, let's remember, we had a lot of our top 10 contenders go down earlier before they even made it to the end game. So leaderboard is going to be very interesting to take a look at.
Yeah, definitely. And those standings update in real time. So we already know players like Clarity G, the vets, the OGs, really rocketing their way on up to the top. I'm sure Adam and crew have something to say about that game. So we're going to toss it over to Des.
Heck yeah, we do. Pamsu and Thatch coming through there. Sundown, they're in the race, man. They got there. They got there. I mean, that's fantastic for those guys, and we'll touch on them very shortly. But Clarity G, as Monster just mentioned there as well, what a pop-off there. I think it was 5 or 6 eliminations, I think it was. But SBG, I mean, you need to have a clutch up. You need to get a lot of eliminations at some point in the competition, and Clarity has done exactly that.
Clarity has laser beams coming out of that MK and just locking onto people. We see him popping off, and the story's kind of been the high ground plays, but Clarity and Slack's able to play this low ground, navigate this space, and really fill the void that's been left open by everyone else. Slay out on the low ground, but ultimately they're falling before that top 5. Really nice to see these two do well, and this probably puts them into that qual range, or at least really close to it.
Really close, and I think one of the things that's key with Clarity is he's always been known for his rifle aim, and then when you add something that's as strong as the MK7 into his arsenal, his ability to just hit those huge legendary pump shots on the low ground, the striker pump, I mean, he's putting to work and able to pick those up, and I think with how close the top of the table is, you're going to need an individual effort like that to really stamp it up, but normally we'd say, hey, that should be a qualifying effort. With how close the leaderboard is at the top, I'm not sure anybody's safe.
I know Vivid was talking about that there as well, that it's, you know, it's going to be really different now, and we can't wait to see. That's the best thing about NAE. It's always so close going into the final stages as well. We've got to touch on, obviously, our Victory Royales, our winners there as well, Pamstone, Fatch. We saw that they claimed that high ground. They managed to hold it outright. They're a consistent team, it seems, here all the time, always being there or thereabouts. It's great to see them get the Victory Royale in this instance, SPG.
And this is exactly what they needed. We can see only 68 points right now, so they're on the outside looking in. And Sundown, you and I were talking about, you just need like 1.5 good games right here in order to push for that qual. And hey, they've done most of the work already.
And as you're watching that bottom left corner over the replay, you can see the number just starting jumping off. I believe when we first hopped on board, it was 18, and then it was 14, and boom, all of a sudden, one round of elims and the placement points come through. They're 12, and then I think we finished right there at the end. They pushed themselves all the way up into 8th, which goes exactly what we talked about in the desk before. One good game. The leaderboard is so close that, hey, a Victory Royale, a decent number of eliminations, you put yourself right in the middle of that conversation with 2 matches left to go.
Exactly, and this is it. This is where the standings currently look like. DJ and Iomzo continue to run at the top spot there, 131 points. But as you can see, things are really starting to change up between first and 10th place here, SPG.
Yeah, we saw Iomzo solo clutch holding up that top spot. We saw the plays there by Clarity. Nick and Beef able to do enough, and then everyone else now is in that range of, I need to at least secure one more top 5.
3rd through 9th is literally separated by 8 points. That is less than 3 eliminations. That's 2 eliminations and getting into the top 30. Like, there is so much to play for. I mean, there's a significant drop-off after the fact, but when we say quote-unquote significant drop-off, that's relevant, right? Like, as soon as you end up going below that, it's still one good game worth.
Yeah, and everyone of you, 11th through 20th position here as well, you can totally see are all capable of going into it. You know, even look at 14th place, D-Roller and Trashy, 74 points. They're only 20 points away from breaking into the top 8. So they're so close, and it does just take one game, and you're right back in the mix. You're being considered for going through in the auto-call spots, those top 8 going through to finals immediately and bypassing semi-finals. Let's head back over to our casters. We're about to go to Game 5. Monster, Vivid, what do you got for us, boys?
I mean, listen, it's pretty clear Iomzo's here to set the world on fire. We might be seeing one of our first punched-in finalists of the top 8. The rest of the 7, though, those other slots, I mean, Vivid, we haven't seen a competition this close in quite some time. I feel like this, my friend, is one of the tightest qualifiers, and this is all thanks to the new format. Bringing and swinging the points, skewing the points towards eliminations. It's pretty clear that it's turned into a very competitive format.
It is very, very competitive, and I love how Sunman pointed out that there are basically like 2-3 eliminations that separate 3rd through 9th. Like, if anybody is feeling like they are out of it at this point, they really need to switch that mindset around, because it is so close to the top. Anything can happen. You can have a nice, solid pop-off game with like 10 eliminations, and you're just flying up the leaderboard because of how close it is. Going into the 5th game, though, right, there's not a lot of games left. There's only 2 games left, so these teams are really got to make some plays, make some adjustments if they're not liking how the results are going so far.
Yeah, not only that, top 20 has a fighter's chance here, guys. You saw it's 20 points. Now, if you think about that, 7 eliminations, very much feasible. Breaks that 20 to 30 point threshold pretty easily, and 32 points for the Victory Royale, or maybe a little bit more than that, honestly. So easily, any team can win and give themselves buffer room and a definite top 8 spot coming into the last game. So as we start rounding our way into game number 5 right here, right now, I mean, it is anyone's chance. We're going to cover that action right here. So let's go.
flying in, though. You know, we've seen a lot of early game action going on, and a lot of it was centered around Greasy Grove. A little bit of a development happened in the Daily Bugle. Looks like we're going to check out Greasy Grove. Let's not forget what happened last game. About 20 teams ended up showing up here, so that's got to be in the back of these players' minds as they go ahead and try to loot up, right? They got to be thinking, we want to take the fight like as soon as possible, so that way we can thwart off any kind of third parties that want to come in. But I think Rise and Agers getting a hold of this main building here is just too big. There's so many coolers in there. There's so many chug splashes that come out of those coolers that they are instantly full shield right now, and they look like they're already ready to fight as they go for some early shots here on Nounsy, who decides to disengage with a car. And if we're looking in the top left, Macwood going down the Nico, as is Donnie.
Oh my gosh, big trades right here. This is so unfortunate for Macwood. Oh, you hate to see it. A team that just was off to such a rocket start and now just having struggles, right? Struggling with their drop spot instead of changing up the strategy the way Nounsy and Sprite have managed to do. Now, mind you, Nounsy and Sprite were granted, honestly, a lot of lucky, or just had so much luck. Let me just rephrase this. What happened last game, Agers was shot at as soon as the fight kicked off alongside Rise, so gave them a chance to actually win it. And then Nounsy just, I don't know what Agers did, but he rolled up behind him who wasn't paying attention and managed to miss a couple of shots. So I don't know how they survived last game, but here we are. Things are going to reset. Those windmill teams starting to come in now, as you can see from the map. So Rise has limited time to wrap this up. They have to be very, very quick at this point.
And Nounsy and Sprite going for the same strategy that they had before, finding a singled out player, and it works out yet again. They just both decide to make a quick call. Let's jump on one of these players, find a quick elimination, that quick knock, and then the other player is basically left in this quick little 2v1 situation where they got to try to clutch, and Nounsy and Sprite just putting in all the work. I believe they're like 4-1 now off spawn.
Oh no, but they were getting pushed right there. But here's a quick replay of Nico taking out Macwood and Donnie, just so you guys can see exactly how it went down. It's a rinse and repeat, honestly. They're landing at this main building instead of switching things up. You know, that's the definition of insanity over and over. Same plays, same stuff, but a more important fight right now. Top 9, Sprite and Nounsy. Nounsy did not get the pickup in time, and they get crushed by Jackson and Fable Taco. Wow.
Yep, and this is one of those same teams that did the same exact thing in the previous game. Was one of those teams that was prevalent in third party, and Jackson just going to be finding the angle here. It does take a whopping 140 damage shot from Nounsy, though, so good shot, but just two healthy players coming in from an outside landing spot into a bunch of players who have been fighting now for a couple of minutes, so just real no solid chance there, especially with Sprite going down. Nounsy left to do it all, and now Jackson and Fable Taco left with the rest of Greasy Grove to themselves.
Yeah, this has turned out to be a much better strategy than sitting around taking the fight at the windmill, right? When you have a team that's being contested, honestly not too far off, it works even better for them to step in second after getting their initial loot, kind of eye out the situation and take advantage of it. And that's what we're watching go down here for game number 5. For Iamzo and Degen, our team that is the only team with a semi-comfortable buffer and lead over the rest of the competition here. And that lead being held on to by about 20 points or so. It's looking pretty good right now. Once again, we're watching Iamzo just have an exceptional day, clutching up when it matters most. These endgame performances that he's pulling off with no teammate has just been great. But more importantly, Degen and him, when they're up together, they've been winning engagements and everything that you want to see from a team that's going to punch their way to finals.
Greasy Grove, no longer the party spot, looking right outside of Tilted is the place to be.
We haven't been here all day.
No, we really haven't, and it looks like the players are kind of tired of it, right? A fan favorite POI, Tilted Tower. Some of these players are like, man, I want to go back, check that out. So they're going to create some fights around here, though it looks like maybe some of their efforts are thwarted. A couple of elims picked up by Peterbot and Quanti. They're happy. They're going to disengage quick. They see a little airdrop going down over here. If they can secure that, they are in really good shape. You really got to value those early elims because that's just Storm Surge. You were chilling. You got peppers popped. And already right now they're pretty centered on the map, so they can really just focus on positioning. They can even position up on these rifts that you can find here in the map. So they're going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what Quanti pulls. A little launch pad here. Ranger.
Wow. Actually,
got an upgrade for Ranger. He didn't pick it up, so maybe Peterbot's going to go in and snipe that one up.
Yeah, opting for the Ranger as well. Not something that we've seen a lot throughout the day. Something that we have seen a lot throughout the day is leaderboard changes, and Slacks and Clarity brought that to fruition in the last game, flying all the way up to the number 2 spot. And I feel like we've seen so much aggression out of Reciprocal and 20.
Oh, yeah, surely. We really have. We've seen a lot of fights go down, but their placement in the overall tournament shows us that a little bit of a struggle today. But again, with how competitive the standings are, we were giving teams inside the top 20 a realistic chance. They're not too far from there, so it'd take 2 hero performances, but I mean, the standings don't lie. There's a lot of room for these teams to go ahead and jump on up. Remember, 8th spot can be as low as 130 points, as high as what we saw on Friday, 138, roughly around there, closer to 140. So, you know, there's definitely plenty of room here. A Victory Royale has been on average around 50 to 60 points or so.
Oh, man, 20 there.
The setup.
He was getting greedy. You know, he had minis, he had the big pops, but I don't think he wanted to pop them. I think he was trying to wait for his teammate so that way they both could pop the chug keg there, because he does have 2 of them. I think he was trying to back up, and he got caught right on the log that was right there. Couldn't move a bunch, and just too many angles to be covered by the builds, and we're going to be seeing a quick replay of that. Yeah, look at that log. He's on the slope right there. He's literally... He's like getting crushed by the log as he's trying to disengage from that right there. And, you know, maybe he should have just settled in somewhere and used some minis rather than waiting for that choke egg. But Slacks and Clarity going to be just watching that other team pick up the loot that they just ultimately could have claimed from that elimination. They're happy with the quick elim that they got, though.
Yeah, definitely, man. And a couple tags as well, so plenty of surge, little extra for their efforts. And mind you, Clarity and Slacks are in 2nd place right now, so this is a huge early game elimination for them, a huge pain relief, right, for later when Surge is going to become the biggest issue, especially for the first zone.
Cold in the top left,
Down.
going down. Oh, and there goes Scented as well. So Dayfan and J-Man. We know, though, that that's going down at Covert Canyon, right? We've seen those names there a lot, so... Interesting to see Scented and Cold actually liked how that worked out last game, so they returned to that strategy. Probably landed at Sleepy, rotated in. Figured they could do the same thing they did last game, but this game not going to be working out.
Yeah, it's really not. And, you know, at this point, we're just going to have to see them, you know, next week.
Yeah.
Right, for the semifinals. They were managed to get their way this far, so we know they have the series points. We know they've been consistent enough. That's not even a doubt in our minds, so we will see them competing for the semifinals for a spot, right? For a spot to the finals. Now, remember, next week, too, Victory Royales are going to be punching people all the way through, so there's it's going to be very interesting for Day and J-Man, though. That's how it went down for them.
And
this is their drop. They have the benefit.
Yep, and here we go. Finally, the ultimate prize of Covert Canyon, the loot. All these chests, everything that you could really ever ask for, so... These guys, pretty much dream situation. 3 elims, so that you know that they have plenty of Storm Surge. They've got purple weapons across the board. Dayfan himself, 2 launch pads to use. And they just got to make sure that they make themselves all the way over to Colony Crossroads. A little bit of a trek for them to make, but surely they can make it, especially even if they have to use one of these launch pads. They got extra.
Yeah, definitely. 2 yielding out of this draw spot now, so it's going to work out really, really well. Now, one thing that is interesting, though, Scented and Cold were there before the vault was even opened up, so I wonder, did they decide to land there just to see how it would go, or did they just rotate really, really early? We'll have to find that one out. We'll hit the books on that one, but either way, doesn't work out. Hopping back on over to Dusky and Bully. Bully who pulled out, you know, a miraculous number of points at the end game there. Big rotates, well timed. Got a couple extra points, squeezing the juice there out of the fruit, if you will. It was a big fight. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Larson starting off with a quick 90+ damage pump shot right there on Avery. This is a big fight. You know, Larson and Smite were putting up numbers against Scented and Cold, who, you know, we know that they're very well. But then you got Muzz and Avery on the other side of this thing as well. Well-vetted players. Avery, at one point, known for being an aggressive player, and Muzz well-rounded as well. Avery decides to take a questionable edit right there. Doesn't actually pay for it, though. Larson was not ready for it.
I'll see you guys tomorrow, and